Hi everyone, this is a introduction video to the new VEX V5 system, and specifically we're going to look at the starting of activity 3.1.1, which is going to be called inputs and outputs. But first off, I wanted to go through and take a look at some of the devices that show up on the new modified VEX Testbed that is used in Principles of Engineering. So first off, we'll start off with, we've got the V5 robot brain. The robot brain is similar to the VEX Cortex and what we used to utilize. It has a lot of enhancements, a lot of upgrades. We'll start taking a look at some of the features within it. Along here, you'll see it's got these smart ports. So you'll see that when I wired this up, I've got two smart motors. With this one, the right motor is going to be plugged into port 10. Left motor is plugged into port 1. And then we've also got a couple of other sensors down here that are plugged into these smart ports. We've got an optical sensor. The big thing you got to watch for are the symbols. That's what I always tell my students. The optical sensor has a little eyeball, and the distance sensor has like a robot that has a couple arrows that are pointing to maybe a wall, or it has a line on there for an obstacle. So these two look very similar, except for those symbols are different. Now, some of the standard parts, we do have the limit switch that comes from the Cortex series of VEX components. We have a bumper switch. We still have our potentiometer, which has a gear here that allows us to turn. And then we also have our servo motor up here, and then we do have a red LED that got switched out. We used to have a green LED, but we got it switched out now. The other thing we have here is the VEX battery. So the VEX battery is one of the crucial points that we want to take a look at. So if I go through and if I press this button, it'll go through and show how much charge the VEX battery has. And then likewise, because I turned on that button, you see it did turn on the brain. But if you go through and need to start it, I can go through and also, if it is ever turned off, you can hold the power button. This also has a magnetic case on the top. They can be taken off. Make sure you don't lose these. So I always tell students to make sure that these are staying nearby. And so here's our power button. If I hold that down with my finger, the VEX startup screen will happen. Your servo may turn on and start to adjust. But from here, I can go through and I can see some of the different devices and things like that. So there are 8 slots, which you can find in programs. 8 slots that we can go through. I've already got a test program that I ran earlier, so that's why slot 1 is already taken up. But anytime I need to go back to a menu, I can press the button. It also acts as a back button. And likewise, I can go through, really for right now in POE, we really don't need to worry about doing any driving, but if you do run a robotics program, you may need to go through and look at, driving a particular robot on some default mode utilizing the VEX V5 controller. So I'm going to go back. As far as settings go, you can go through and you can change a lot of the different options in here. You can change from a light to a dark theme by holding on that setting. Most people like the dark theme. And then also you can, if you want to, delete all the programs. So this may be very beneficial as you get done with 1 year. You can delete all the programs and get this set up. Where we're going to be living at primarily is going to be in this devices kind of screen. And with that, you're going to be able to see that with devices, we are able to see what are all the different devices that are plugged into the brain. So all the 3-wire, like the servo motor, LED, limit switch, bumper switch, potentiometer are all plugged in here on the end in the lettered ports. So A through E are going to be used up, and we don't need to be connected to VEX code V5 for 3.1.1. All I'm telling my students is all that I really need them to do is to become familiar with some of the objects that they're going to be working with. So, and in another video, we're going to take a look at specifically motors, and I'm going to kind of walk through the activity and just kind of show you what are all the different new features that we can use. So this does replace the old Robot C debugger window, and we're able to use our VEX robot brain to be able to do this. So check out the next video to see what all we're going to be doing with these new VEX V5 components.